Anthony and Russo, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you. And let's do not forget the robotic star of the show. Hi, Cosmo.
Hello.
Hello.
Bring coffee with me.
Hello. Thank you for submitting this day. But don't hesitate to make more questions now. First up, Millie, we would like to know who attracted you to this electrifying project. Rumor has it you are a big fan of the Russo brothers for a long time, so working.
We made started that.
I put that anyway. No, I really was. I had the pleasure of going to visit them on set in Atlanta years and years ago, so I was able to see them direct and kind of just made it my goal and dream to be able to work with them. So when they brought me Electric State, I knew that really no matter what they brought me, I was going to do it. But then it ended up being one of the most prolific and original stories that I had ever read on script, so that made it a bonus. It was an immediate yes.
Yes. Chris, your on-screen chemistry with Millie is fantastic, but you also have a very special bond with your robotic buddy, Herman. Please spill the beans on how you prepare to make a robot your best friend forever.
Hello, Spain. Hello, Madrid. Yes, thank you. We have great chemistry. Both Millie and I, we love one another, and it's super fun, and hopefully that shows on screen. And as for my relationship with Herman, voiced by the incomparable Anthony Mackie, it was really fun, and the way that we shot it with, of course, visual effects. I had a wonderful mocap actor on the day every day named Marty, who's about this tall, and he's an old buddy of mine. We've worked together before, and he's just a wild cat, and we just had a lot of fun. So when I'm doing those scenes and I'm telling Herman that I love him, or when I'm, have this sort of dynamic with him that's kind of grumpy, like two roommates who are tired of one another, I was looking right in the eyes of a human being. So there's a very human interaction that hopefully translates on screen.
Anthony and Joe, you outdone yourself in bringing Cosmo to life, but the other more than 90 robots in the movie, the film, is really a mix of heart and humor, and you drop in action sequences. An easy question. What's the secret to make such an awesome movie?
One line. I'll just talk about the robots since you brought up the robots. I mean, it was a very involved process creating those robots, and it started with, our inspiration, of course, was the incredible book that Simon Stålenhag created, The Electric State, and the sort of very, very striking robots that he created in that movie. We love the idea that the sort of retro futurism, these sort of futuristic robots that were in our past, a past that never happened. And then in order to create those, we worked with conceptual artists a lot. We sort of ideated and dreamt up a lot about who these robots could be, what were they created for, and why. Then we started working with performance artists to move on set in the way that Chris was just describing, and be able to work with Millie and Chris as we shot the film so that they would have actors there to perform scenes with, but also those actors really helped us develop the personality of the robots, how they moved, what their body language was, what their feelings, what their emotional texture was, and we captured all that on set, and we brought that into post-production, where we then worked with a lot of our animators to use that human performance that was created on set to animate these robots for the film. It was a really long process. It took years, but everybody was very dedicated to creating something that felt absolutely real. And I think we're all really very happy with what we were able to achieve.
Joe, do you want to add something to the secret to make that awesome film.
I just want to know if we can put "Don't Stop Believing" back on by Journey. Can we play it while we're talking? Is that possible?
Can you play Don't Stop Believing, please?
Yeah. That's like the best walkout we've ever had.
Yeah.
To Don't Stop Believing. I think it'll zazz this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes. Where's
We
Taco
have
Bell?
it, I know we have it. ¿Podemos poner Don't Stop Believing? De la banda sonora? We are working on it.
Okay,
I have
good.
another question.
Yes.
It's one of the questions of the press for Chris and for Millie. It's a question from Ana Calvo from Mujer Hoy. Would your perfect robot partner be? Which skills would it have? Mm-hmm.
I think you go first.
Well, a perfect robot companion?
Yeah.
That's such a good question. If it was a service robot, you know, maybe like a robot butler that could do all of the remedial tasks of a day-to-day, that'd be really nice. It'd be very nice if I could have a robot help me find my keys and my headphone and my wallet. I'm leaving shit everywhere all the time. That would be nice, managing a schedule. Oh, you know what would be really good? You might like this, Millie. A robot just for cleaning up dog poop. Just
I
push
actually
the
like
button.
that.
That'd be good, right?
Yeah, I'm on board with that one.
That's a good
for
one.
Sure. Yeah, I like that a lot. Maybe that one would be mine because I have too many dogs.
You have
and-
so many dogs.
A lot of
One
dogs.
robot but that task would be enough to probably start the robot up running.
Yes, I completely agree.
I was going to say that's an easy one to get sick of quickly.
Mhm, yeah. I think mine would definitely be like training dogs, walking dogs. I mean, I love and enjoy doing those things, but sometimes I have 10 personal dogs and I can't do that all alone. So a robot companion would help me with that for sure.
It's a great robot. I have a question for the Russo brothers from Movimentarios from Fran Tejada White. Can you talk about the design of the robots? Who was in charge of developing them? And to what extent were you free to unleash your imagination?
Yeah, I mean, the movie's based on a graphic novel, beautiful graphic novel by a visionary artist named Simon Stollenhag. And a lot of the inspiration was drawn from this book, but we did work with Dennis Gassner, who we think is one of the greatest production designers that's ever been in the film business. He's a many-time Oscar-nominated production designer. And we spent about 2 years before we made the movie working with Dennis, developing all the robots. I was stunned when he said 90. I didn't realize we had that many, but I guess we do. But each of those were, meticulously crafted by the team to fit into the style of the world, this world where Walt Disney had, was the father of robotic technology. And then robots were designed to be pleasing and appealing and non-threatening, which is why they look like Cosmo here. They're cartoonish and meant to make you happy, and so we felt the irony of these very pleasing Disney-esque robots trying to kill you for abusing them would make for an interesting tone. And so that was the impetus behind the design for the robots.
I'm in love with Cosmo.
Yeah.
I think everyone is in love with Cosmo.
We all should take a Cosmo home.
Oh, yeah. We have another question that's for Chris and Millie. It's from Maria Sound from Best.
I mean, personally, I felt that maybe the most challenging aspect would be portraying grief. I think grief, I think everyone has experienced grief at some point, and it's so multifaceted, and there's so many layers to grief. And I think just showing that Michelle is still kind of in all the different phases of grief, and really trying to pull her out of that dark space that she's in at the beginning of the film. So I think, and doing it in a really tasteful way where she doesn't become annoying. You know, and you can still see that there's so much humanity in her. But I personally found that the hardest to kind of navigate.
And for me, I found it a really rewarding challenge to help in the very collaborative spirit that the Russos have always had, starting with Avengers, Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. What was interesting about this was we had a pretty blank slate for this character to create something different than anything I'd ever done before. And so from the look and the walk and the swagger and some of the storyline and the arc and improvisational nature of some of the comedy, it was really nice to get to just really, it was a great challenge to get to create something completely fresh and not based on any particular IP. We were allowed to have, you know, my imagination in collaboration with these wonderful directors and our writers to create something new and funny. I think there's a lightness to the character that helps glide Millie's more dramatic through line through the movie. Of course, there are moments of drama as well, but that infusing comedy in the tone to help it feel big and commercial, like a big family, you know, fun, a rollicking ride across the West, you know, mining for pop culture references and helping to make the film feel nostalgic for an era that it really didn't exist because it's an alternate version of the 1990s, but, you know, I'm a child of the 90s, so to kind of go back through the music that I loved as a child and the various wardrobe choices that people in my life had, and it was a really fun challenge to create the character.
The next question is for Millie. Did you have any inspiration or references to create Michelle?
Yeah, I mean, I guess when I read the script, I immediately wanted coloured hair. I didn't know if it was going to be bleach blonde, or actually we spoke about even going a colour like red or blue.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt that as I was kind of researching, I was born in 2004, so there was researching involved, going back in time. But I then came across this image of Drew Barrymore, and I sent it over to the Russos, and they had approved the look. And the look wasn't just the hair; it was her outfit, it was the layers. It was kind of like, you know, the bangs were trying like to hide some emotion, maybe hide some feeling, and I felt like that was something that I really wanted to encapsulate in Michelle's character, because I do feel like she's trying to hide a lot of how she feels, and bangs help with that. And I think aesthetically that helped also with the shots in filming Michelle too, and not really understanding what was actually going on in her mind. So I think, yeah, for me, I mean, aesthetically, the 90s is clearly my favorite. I've enjoyed this press tour very much. So I love developing this character and really paying homage to some icons in the 90s. And hopefully now Michelle can really be a standout 90s character on her own. Yeah.
To the Russos from Gonzalo Franco, plenty of robot movies. How was the process of developing a new robot universe for the narrative of the film?
It was great. Part of what excited us about this story is that we were taking a different approach with the robots, and it was, you know, these robots were supposed to be very basic. Usually when you see robots in movies, they're very sophisticated, they're sort of capable of all these remarkable things that human beings can't do, and they're intimidating and exciting for that reason. These robots are very like elemental and almost childlike in terms of what their capacities are. And that was the big thrill of this film. In fact, early on we had to work very specifically with a lot of the conceptual artists and animators, because everyone's instinct is always to like make robots sophisticated. And we had to like really sit on everybody and say, no, it's the opposite. It's their charm and their value is in their sort of basic nature. And so that was fun. And we studied a lot of, you know, we would imagine, you know, even though the movie takes place in the 90s, you know, some of these robots were built in the 80s, some were built in the 70s. We sort of correlated the development of robots with the development of the computer starting in the 50s. So we would be very specific to each period when the robot was built, and the robot could be a little more basic based upon how old it was, and we studied a lot of design details from those periods to make the robots really feel like an expression of their time.
The next question is to Chris and Millie. Is from with technology and how it has changed in part for the worse their lives. Chris, Millie, what is your relationship with technology?
I'm painfully addicted to my phone. It's a problem. I have 4 children at home. I don't. I try not to have my phone out. I try not to have screens at home. Of course, I rely on technology, and I'm grateful for technology. I think that there are many wonderful aspects of our advancements we've made in technology. But I have to be really mindful that I'm not, I only have a finite amount of attention, and I need to be mindful that I don't give it all to something that's essentially an unhealthy form of technology. Under the umbrella of all of the things that technology can do, one of the things it can do is, algorithm-driven passive entertainment that really kind of lulls you into a state of hypnosis, and I'm a victim of it. I'm as bad as anybody, and even on this press tour, like I'm away from my kids, so my phone is out, and I look and I'm like, what have I been doing? I've been just like scrolling this feed, like I don't think I got anything out of it other than just like 4 hours of not sleeping or something. So my relationship with technology is a little bit like a drug, and I need to probably check myself into a rehab as soon as I can.
You can come to my farm.
Thank you. That'd be great. That'd be great.
The Russos are equally of the same.
What?
Yes!
Are you outing us?
I'm outing you right now. You love
I don't even
scroll.
own a phone.
No, you're a liar. You're a liar. He's a liar.
What's the phone?
Why do you think we had to make this movie?
Yes, I know. No, it's true though. I mean, like being in the industry, you rely so much on really being on your phone and like constantly being able to communicate. And I wasn't, directing and producing 5 other projects while directing the film like they were. So I understand. No judgment, but I judge. I am very, very detached from technology. I'm very lucky. I just have never really been interested in kind of being on my phone. I don't find it amusing. I love being in reality. And I think going back to the importance of the messaging of the film is that like my demographic and my audience really need to watch a film like this, because I think it's not too in your face and the message isn't too, preachy. But I do think that the underbelly of the film is take a look and reflect on what your relationship looks like and create a healthy balance. I think everything it can be balanced perfectly. I think, to Chris's point, technology can have great benefits, but it's also one of the main reasons why my demographic and my audience suffers with mental health issues. So it's something that we definitely have to look into more and protect young people from, so that we can have a healthier going forward for young people and my generation.
Next question. Experience a team of misfits similar to what happens in Guardians of the Galaxy. How was it for you to play a leader once again, surrounded by such peculiar characters?
It was not just so much of the film in that it's at once fresh and brand new, but also familiar. And so I've had experience over the course of maybe the past 10 or 15 years doing films that are big production value with many elements of animation in the post-production process, various characters that are not really there while we're shooting that look amazing when you see the film. And so there's a technical aspect to it that I'm really familiar with and I am comfortable with. That there's a real learning curve to working with mocap actors and reacting to things that are not really there and create, acting in an environment that's only partially there on the day. And in the arc of the character, yeah, there is a similarity with with the Guardians of the Galaxy. There's this group of misfits, there's a beautiful call to action and finding something larger than yourself that you're willing to fight for and becoming less selfish and more inspired to to be of service to a bright, shining, young, and wonderful person like Michelle's character. Yeah, so that it was familiar. I think there was a reason I was the right guy for the job, I suppose.
Yeah. Unfortunately, our time is up.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
all.
so much.
Thank you all for being
Could
here.
you please stay while our team go to the other room? Thank you so much.